This recording is taken from the rehearsal for the Tales for the Longhouse event, which happens once a month. Check it out in the links.
Today, I have some stories about belts. Yeah, belt's a simple thing, right? You recognize a thing as a belt, or it's not a belt. Dead easy. But, well, some belts, they've got many strands, and some thoughts you have to unwind to think about. Like this belt, for instance. You could say it's a bit of rope, but when you've got it tied around your waist, it's a belt. Or if you wanted a stronger belt, something out of leather, metal buckle, that'll function much better. Or to get even more into it, you could have a belt which has got decorated metal bits on it. So it not only works to hold your trousers up, but it's a status symbol, a function, a symbol of something more than just being a belt. So it's like that with truth as well. You get truth, and it's truth. But then also, if you think about it, it starts to unravel a little. And well, you get head truth and you get heart truth. And the head truth, some of the stuff is stuff you think about to find out about. And some of the stuff is stuff you find out about and think about to find out about. Getting confusing? Well, with the heart, it's the same. You've got some heart truth, which is identity. You know who you are. And you've got some heart truth, which you have to go out into the world to discover, to explore, and to find out about. But still, truth is simple. It's either truth or it's not. Like a belt. It's either a belt or it's not. And if it's not a belt, then your trousers fall down and you find out very quickly. So I'm going to tell you a story about somebody who got sent to find a belt. And that one person is Hercules. Hercules is one of the great heroes in Greek stories, and I learned about him as a child. So I'm going to start the story of Hercules with him being a child. And can you imagine him there in his wee house? And he's got his mum there, who's a princess descended from Perseus. Awesome. And he's put down to go to sleep, and he's laid in a nice shield. Well, it's a good big bronze shield. It's a Greek one, so it's domed and it rocks. And he's put there with his brother, and all is right with the world. Except there were two natures. Hercules was the son of Zeus, who came in disguise and slept with his mum. But the same night, his mum's husband slept with her too. So when they were born, he was born as a twin. And Hercules maybe took more of the Zeus side, and his brother maybe took more of the human side. Either way, Hera, the wife of Zeus, was enraged, livid, and that her husband Zeus had been sleeping with another woman. So she sent snakes. And because she didn't know which of the children was going to be the son of Zeus, she sent two snakes to kill them both. Simple. So can you imagine what Hercules' mum felt like when she found out there were two snakes going into the room where she just put her kids down to go to sleep? She ran in, like, hoping to do something, because these snakes were like big and poisonous. Here's the wonder of it. When she got in, she found Hercules playing with the snakes. Except when I say playing, it's more he'd strangled them and was flopping them around. Quick, floppy things. Well, that was the start of Hercules' role as a hero. But throughout his entire life, he was also plagued by Hera's antipathy. Hera really didn't like him. Like, he was a walking reminder of Zeus's unfaithfulness. So Hera would always send things his way that he had to deal with, like going mad, killing people. In fact, he was set 12 labours to make up for having killed his wife and kids at one point. Yeah, I mean, that would be bad. So, like, when he found out it had happened, he went and he saw an oracle. And the oracle said, you need to go and find King Eurystheus. And Eurystheus, he will give you 12 labours. And when you've accomplished these 12 tasks, then you are set free from the crime that you have committed. So, yeah, 12 labours, that's quite a lot. It sounds like a lot of hard work. So, to understand maybe why Hercules went and did the tasks, you need to think your way back to him when he was a teenager, kind of wandering the hills, a little bit of a daydream, sometimes days like that. And as he was walking in the hills, he was on a path, and he got to a place where the path split. And coming up from the valley where he could hear the sounds of music and the scents of apples and oranges, was this gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous woman. And she went, "Hey, Hercules, you gonna come and play? We've got a great party coming up. You'll be able to party all night and you can sleep all day. And, we'll have a brunch or something like that." Hercules certainly liked the sound of that. He liked the sound of a good party. And he was just about thinking on going down that way when coming up behind him was another woman, a young woman, this one tall and wearing a white dress, but no shoes, rugged-footed, and with a determined glint in her eye. She said, "Oh, Hercules, I see you've met my sister. You don't want to go with her. It will turn out badly for you." "Badly?" The sister replied, "No, it won't turn out badly. You'll have feather beds. You'll have the finest food. You'll have music in your ears, a song on your lips, and a woman under every arm." 2 arms. I'll throw in an extra one for spares. And the second woman turned to him and said, "Yes. But if you go that way, you'll be eating before you're hungry. You'll be sleeping all of the good working day away because you've been out partying all night. You'll desire things so much that you taste them before you are ready, and you'll lose the taste and the sense of taste in your teeth." That didn't sound so good either. "So what do you have to offer?" said Hercules. And the girl said, "Well, I offer you a hard bed. I offer you dried food, but I offer you a climb up the hills to where you can see. I offer you a hero's life that people will talk about for ages. It's a tough road, but it's a road worth walking." And Heracles thought again for a while, and then he decided, and he followed her up the high path, and the stones were hard and they hurt his feet, and he could hear the sound of music in the valley below. But just as he was going up the path, he saw there was a sort of shimmering in the light, and the woman he was following didn't seem to be wearing so much a white dress as armor, and she was holding a shield. As he looked at the shield, he saw in a mirror, and he saw himself, and he saw the soles of his feet becoming tough, and he saw his arms becoming strong, and he saw the valley, and in the valley all the apples were rotten, and all the oranges were green with mold, and the lady who'd been inviting him down that way, well, she put on some weight, I can tell you, and was lying there motionless and trapped by her own consumption. So, with that story in his head, when faced with the doing 12 tasks to make up for something that had happened to him earlier, there was only one choice. And he went down and he went in for the tasks, and he threw himself into it heart and soul. First task that he was faced with was to bring back the Nemean lion, to go and kill it. This was a fearsome beast. And, well, Hercules didn't have so much of a plan. He wandered along, he'd got a bow, he'd got some arrows. He decided to make himself a club out of an olive tree. Now, most people would cut off a branch of the olive tree, but Hercules, he just ripped the tree from the ground and broke off the twig bits. That was a club. But when he reached the place where the lion was waiting for him, the lion pounced. He slammed it with a club and it backed off. So he pulled out his bow and he started shooting arrows, but the arrows bounced off the skin. This creature had hide so tough that arrows wouldn't harm it. Swords would blunt on it, and all weapons would break on its back. So, throwing away the club, Hercules grabbed the lion and wrestled it into submission. And then, aided by Athena, he thought, and he used the claws of the lion itself to skin the lion. And taking its skin, he put the head on his head as a hat, and the rest of the skin went as a cloak down him, and he returned. Labour 1 accomplished. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the labours because that would take all night, but there is one more labour that I will tell you because it'll be the end and it goes back to the beginning. And this is the labour where he was sent to retrieve the girdle of Hyppolyta. Now, that might not make much sense, but it was kind of going to get the belt of the Amazon queen. It doesn't really sound like much of a task, except the Amazon queen Hyppolyta was the queen of the Amazon warriors, a fierce tribe on the shores of the Black Sea. So it was a journey to get to in itself. And the belt had been given to her by Ares, the god of war, and it was a symbol of her pride and her strength. So to gain that, well, that would take some negotiation. And it would take more than just brute strength as well. So Heracles got in his boat and he sailed off with his men, and he sailed and they rowed, because these boats have both sails and oars, and they eventually arrived at the land of the Amazon queen, all the Amazons. And the army drew up on the shore to see who these strangers were and to welcome them. And Heracles shouted his name, and Hyppolyta had heard of him. His reputation had gone before him, and a reputation like that is better than any weapon. Because on coming on board his ship, Hyppolyta was pleased to give him the belt because, well, he was a great hero, and he had won fame from all the other labours he'd accomplished and all the other armies he'd defeated. So it was no shame to her to give it to him. Sounds good, hey? Except Hera, not content to have Hercules have a happy little life, was disguised as an Amazon woman and wandering around the rest of the Amazons. And she spread a rumour and she spread a lie that Hercules was going to seize Hyppolyta by force and drag her off and take her back to Greece as a slave or a captive. At which point the Amazon warriors were furious and they jumped on their horses and they rode down to the beach with archers, spears. Hercules saw them coming and saw that he was going to be attacked and thought that Hyppolyta had tricked him. So his men drew shields, threw spears. It was a massive battle, but Hercules defeated Hyppolyta and left with the belt and returned back to Eurystheus. Labour accomplished. So can you imagine him going up to the palace with a belt and offering it to Eurystheus? And Eurystheus would perhaps come out of the urn that he normally hid in when Hercules was approaching, and Hercules handed over this belt. Well, would it just be handing over a belt, or is it handing over the belt and the story? The belt, the story, the honour. And if you saw that belt or saw a picture of it, what would you see? Would you just see a belt, or would you see much, much more woven into the story that is on the belt? Thank you very much for listening, and I'll have another story of a belt in a moment.
Click the links in the description to find out where you can get tickets for the next Tales for the Longhouse event. There'll be 3 stories, 3 storytellers. It'll be great to see you there.